Y'all, welcome as we continue through the Psalms together. Today is going to be Psalm 77. This psalm is a companion to Psalm 74, which also lamented the destruction of Jerusalem and the captivity of Israel. Both psalms deal with feeling like the Lord had rejected his people, and both look to the Lord, to what the Lord has done for them in the past, for renewed hope for the future. Asaph was suffering as he wrestled with the meaning behind the terrible events that he had witnessed. In this psalm, he pours out his heart to the Lord and the struggles that he is working through. He pours out every struggle, every feeling, every heart cry. He pours it all out to the Lord. As he shepherds every single emotion that he is struggling through to the Lord, he moves from disappointment and despair to confidence that the Lord will care for his people, because that's who the Lord is. We'll go ahead and start in verse 1 of 77. I cry out to God. Yes, I shout. Oh, that God would listen to me. When I was in deep trouble, I searched for the Lord. All night long I prayed, with hands lifted toward heaven, but my soul was not comforted. I think of God and I moan, overwhelmed with the longing for his help. You don't let me sleep. I'm too distressed to even pray. I think of the good old days, long since ended, when my nights were filled with joyful songs. I search my soul and ponder the difference now. Has the Lord rejected me forever? Will he never again be kind to me? Is his unfailing love gone forever? Have his promises permanently failed? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he slammed the door on his compassion? Unable to sleep, Asaph prayed. He petitioned the Lord to hear his struggles. He cried out to the Lord. He remembered the good old days and found himself questioning the season of crisis and pain that he was currently enduring. In times of crisis and pain, prayer should be our first response. Asaph reached out his hands in the darkness and he cried out to the Lord in desperation. He was God's servant and he led people in worship in the temple, yet he found no comfort in his heart. He felt like the Lord had failed his people. However, the Lord was simply being faithful to his covenant and he was disciplining Israel for their sins. Their correction was proof of his love and faithfulness. It isn't a sin to question God. He invites our questions. He invites our struggles. He invites us to wrestle through deep matters in life with him. He wants us to go to him with it all. However, it is a sin to make demands of God in pride, thinking and suggesting that God needs our counsel or our direction. We are not God, and we need to stay in our own lane, humble and surrendered before him. He is God. He knows what he is doing. We do not. He is a pitcher full, ready to pour out onto us. We need to ask for his presence. We need to let him work and move and direct. We humbly surrender like a cup being poured into by a jug, which means we have to be lower. We have to be surrendered and let him fill us. Let him direct us. Let him correct us. Let him do all he needs to do in our lives to bring his will forth, and it will be good for his glory and our good. Asaph asked 6 questions that dealt with the character and attributes of God. Has he rejected us? No. He is faithful to his word. Lamentations 3:31 declares, "For no one is abandoned by the Lord forever." Will he ever show us his kindness again? Yes, Isaiah 60:10 confirms, "For though I have destroyed you in my anger, I will now have mercy on you through my grace." Has his unfailing love vanished forever? No, Jeremiah 31:3 assures us long ago that the Lord said to Israel, "I have loved you, my people. I have loved you with an everlasting love. With unfailing love I have drawn you to myself." Have his promises failed? No. 1 Kings 8:56 encourages us, "Not one word has failed of all the wonderful promises he gives through his servant Moses." Has he forgotten to be gracious? No. Isaiah 49:15-16 assures us, never. Can a mother forget her nursing child? Can she feel no love for the child she has borne? See, I have written your name in the palms of my hands. He has us in the palm of his hands. We can trust him. Has he slammed the door on compassion? No. Lamentations 3:22-23 promises us the faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin fresh each and every morning. We need to go to the Word of God. We need to pray. We need to cry out in desperation to the Lord, shepherd every emotion to Him, so that He can in turn fill us, turn us, and direct our emotions and our steps. He brings comfort. He brings clarity. He brings the strength that we need right when we need it most. We should never doubt in the darkness what God has taught us, shown us, and told us in the light. No matter what His hand is doing and allowing in our lives, His heart has not changed, and He knows what is best for us. He knows what He is doing. He loves us, and He is always working His will forth, and He is working to bring us to our very best in Him, our eternal best. He has the eternal viewpoint. We do not. We need to trust Him in every season of life and cling to Him with all of our guts. And we'll continue in verse 10. And I said, "This is my fate. The Most High has turned His hand against me. But then I recall all you have done, O Lord. I remember your wonderful deeds of long ago. They are constantly in my thoughts. I cannot stop thinking about your mighty works." Here, there comes a time when we need to grab ourselves by the neck and shake ourselves out of the pity party and back into reality. That's what Asaph did here, and that's what he's showing us how to do. He repeated I statements indicating that he has come to a place of decision and determination. The Lord doesn't change. He absolutely never will. It is us who has to change and surrender to Him and His will. By an act of intentional will, Asaph abandoned his former posture of doubt and intentionally determined to see the matter through no matter what. He turned his heart to praise, and he decided to meditate on what God has done in the past and to learn from Him what He intended for His people and what He intends for us today as well. And we'll continue in verse 13. O God, your ways are holy. Is there any God as mighty as you? You are the God of great wonders. You demonstrate your awesome power among the nations. By your strong arm you redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. When the Red Sea saw you, O God, its wonders looked and trembled. The sea quaked to its very depths. The clouds poured down rain. The thunder rumbled in the sky. Your arrows of lightning flashed. Your thunder roared from the whirlwind. The lightning lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. Your road led through the sea, your pathway through the mighty waters, a pathway no one knew was there. You led your people along that road like a flock of sheep, with Moses and Aaron as their shepherds. One thing we know in the Psalms is God asks us to cry out in desperation, to shepherd every emotion to Him, to turn to Him, to trust Him, to let Him know every detail, every need. But in the Psalms, we also learn that after we cry out in desperation, we need to affirm our faith. We need to cry out in desperation and then turn to God in faith and reaffirm the faith that we have in God through our suffering. We know God is there. We need to cry out and ask for His presence. Ask for His presence. He says, "Why don't you pray for my presence more?" We need to ask for His presence. We have not because we ask not, and His presence will guard us and lead us and guide us through the storms of life and celebrate with us in the victories as well. We need to turn to Jesus and trust Him in every step. If we don't cry out in desperation and follow it up with reaffirmation of faith, we just end up in a desperate pity party. But we need to turn that desperation into affirmation, knowing, yeah, I'm desperate, but Jesus is strong. Jesus, the weight of His glory is stronger than the weight of what I'm going through, and He brings forth the victory. We can trust Him. The pronouns that the psalmist used here suddenly changed from I to you. As he looks to the Lord in faith, he turns his heart to the Lord. When we look at our circumstances, we focus on ourselves and we see no hope. When we look by faith to the Lord, our circumstances may not change, but we do. Asaph didn't solve his problems, but he did move out of the shadows of doubt and into the sunshine of communion with the Lord and confidence in Him. He looked up by faith and rejoiced in the greatness of God. He realized that God's ways are always holy and that He is a great God and His purposes are always right and good and perfect. Asaph looked back to Israel's exodus from Egypt for proof of God's unchanging grace and the powerful hand of the Lord. Today we look back to Calvary, where the Lamb of God gave his life for us to receive salvation. If God the Father didn't spare his own Son for us, we can rest assured that he will provide whatever we need in this life. Through prayer, Asaph received a fresh realization that the Lord is the shepherd of Israel, and he is the best shepherd. The good shepherd came and he gave his life for his sheep. Asaph struggled through this difficult season of life, but he didn't struggle alone. What shepherds do, another thing that's really cool about shepherds, is they go through every single day, they touch every single sheep in their herd. They rub them down, they pet their wool, they touch their sheep every day. If a sheep is not touched every day by the shepherd, it will turn feral. So that's something that the shepherds do every day. They make sure every single sheep is touched and comforted by the shepherd, physically touched. We need to ask for God to touch us every day. We need to ask for his presence every single day. We need to get a touch from God every day. We need to surrender ourselves in humility before the Lord and ask for his presence to be with us. Ask him to touch our hearts and lives. Asaph wasn't struggling alone. He knew he could trust the Lord to work everything out for his good. Like an obedient sheep, he surrendered and he trusted the shepherd. This is a choice that we have to make as well. Life is not promised to be easy this side of heaven. It's just not. However, the Lord promises us that he is with us every single step of the way. He is with us. He's holding us. He's carrying us. He will carry us through every wave that comes. It's up to us to call on him, to surrender, and invite him into every detail of every situation and trust him for every single outcome. We can trust him. We can trust his goodness. We can trust his faithfulness. We can surrender. Trust him. Trust him for every single outcome. Thank y'all. I hope you're having a glorious day in the Lord.